Hey guys, Axel Staley here. And today I'm actually going to be starting doing a series of videos that is very usually different from my normal content. Because, hey, I've recently got done watching the entirety of the DC Animated Universe series. And I gotta admit, I've got a lot of things I would like to say about it. Granted, I imagine many people are about to say what I'm about to say about the entirety of the whole the whole entire Shazam of the movie franchise itself. So, disclaimer: these are my thoughts and my own, and basically this is kind of like my reviewer slash analysis bit going on, I guess you could say. Never really reviewed anything in my entire life until now, so hey, why not? It might be fun. So, with that being said, let's get down to the intro. So, a bit of context, and probably get a little bit of an idea on how I decided to approach this, and probably one of the big things that you probably might hear me say often. I will admit that I'm kind of a sucker for one superhero and one superhero only, which is probably the main reason why I even did this to begin with. But by the time I got done with my movie watching marathon of this animated universe, I couldn't help it to think, wow, this is amazing. So understand a few things, and I'm probably being the dead horse with this. So, my opinions, my thoughts alone, that anything I say or do in this has nothing to do with, anything else, I guess. And definitely one of the few things that you might hear me say often is that, yep, I like the action in this movie, but regardless, it is what it is, and I feel like the first thing I should probably tell you guys is my feelings towards DC Comics themselves, just so we can have a bit of a better understanding on what kind of DC fan I am, at least to say the least. I know that probably sounds boring, but context is important when you want to know who's reviewing this. So, personal feelings on DC Comics. And probably the biggest one that may seem obvious is that I'm a Batman fan. Like, no joke. When it comes to DC Comics, honestly, at least, so when I was a young lad, could not, for the life of me, care about the other DC superheroes, because Batman was one of those heroes that, in my opinion, had a big impact on me. Like, no other superhero, what in DC Comics had a greater impact on my life than Batman does. I mean, yeah, sure. But if we were talking about Marvel, I would be saying that Spider-Man is my big inspirational hero. But this isn't Marvel, though. But this is DC. Yep. So, with that being said, of course I'm gonna be a freaking Bat fanatic. I mean, for goodness sakes, I am so much of a Batman fan. I usually get stuck with this kind of stuff. I mean, for goodness sakes, my favorite version of Batman is New 52. And in my opinion, the best part of New 52. In general. If you can believe it. I mean, it's only until... Sorry, man. It's only until I get into what more of the DC universe when I get older, only I start to realize that, yeah, I like guys like Superman and John Constantine, but mainly those superheroes. And it does become apparent that, yeah, I'm probably one of the most normiest of DC fans, but I like them for my own reasons and my own reasons only. I mean, of course, Batman's my first superhero, Superman being my second, but then there's John Constantine, my dude. I cannot picture John Constantine as anything else than what I have seen, at least in the DC animated universe, that is. So, now that you have an idea on what kind of DC fan I am, whether you have clicked on or whether you're still watching right now or have decided that you want to click off this video upon hearing what kind of DC fan I am, let's get on to the first part of the DC animated universe. Also, before I get too deep into this review, bear in mind this is one of those videos that unlike my most recent videos, this one I might not go completely crazy with. But with that being said, though, the Flashpoint Paradox. Yeah, this is how it starts apparently, and but the entirety of the movie, if you've seen it already, throws you off, you might be just as surprised as I am that, yeah, it really is the first out of the whole thing. And it actually confused me as well, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, judging from the movie's style, I guess I should say, it's not New 52, like how it gets in the later parts of the DC animated movies itself. So it's weird to watch these DC animated, or at least watch this DC animated movie series knowing that this is what started it all. But I guess, so for context, it's better to say that yeah, I guess this is kind of a test run to see if things would fly or not, or at least I like to think Warner Brothers thought like, okay, we're done with the past universe and we're trying to promote New 52. How do we do this? Sir, we can't. Sorry, terrible. Joking aside, obviously this is what I like to imagine before New 52. What obviously the superheroes' costume designs are different than what we will see later, but it's still a good start to the animated movie series itself. But with the plot itself, it basically starts with Barry Allen, aka the Flash, after where he and the Justice League meets some of the rogue galleries that just so happens to be the Flashes. That the Flash does a big oopsie and basically speed forces his way to the past to save his mother. And if there's anything I've learned from this, at least as far as comic book world goes, that's usually never a good idea. And of course, so I like to think this movie basically shows us what happens if you try to change one little thing. Like, one little thing can legit have a big impact in so many ways. Like, for instance, we get an entirely new Batman, which I swear it's mostly Earth 2. Like, that's actually the surprising thing about this movie, is that it actually reminds me of the heroes of Earth 2. I mean, instead of Bruce Wayne as Batman, we got Thomas Wayne as Batman, because Bruce Wayne was actually the one that got shot, while his wife Martha basically becomes the Joker. So that's that. And then we got the Atlantis versus the Amazons, which I will admit that's kind of the one part of the movie I was not following the most on, because it just... I mean, don't get me wrong, the action that happens is alright. And of course, the animation that follows with it is also amazing. So, what else can be said other than that? Yeah. The big, however, though, is that because Barry Allen noticed that he screwed up big time, he's got to get his Flash powers all over again. And I will admit, that is actually a pretty good idea. Like, if you change the past just that big enough to the point where you lose something, like your Speed Force powers, like so, like, it actually does add a bit of tension. Like, yeah, Barry Allen knows he screwed up, he does become the Flash, and he needs to get it back. In the meantime, his big arch nemesis, the Reverse Flash, is definitely the one thing that stands between Barry Allen's way of trying to fix set things back to normal again, and not, I guess. So, what, and this is actually kind of a big one, but apparently the war between the Atlanteans and the Amazons would probably end the world, and that is kind of a big thing. Now, like, yeah, I get that it would cause a lot of big problems, but at the same time, yeah, there were just moments where I'm like, yeah, just why? Yep. But needless to say, it's amazing to see characters who are in the middle ground trying to fight to survive in the middle of this very apocalyptic world. And basically just watching Barry Allen become the Flash again and trying to fix everything. Like, yeah, if you saw this for the first time and you haven't watched any of the new 52 movies up to this point, like, if you saw this for the first time, you'd swear where this is how the DC universe would have ended. But no, and minor spoilers, by the way. Yeah, no, Barry Allen gets his powers back. He fixes everything, and all is well. And I will let admit there's a gripe that I have with this movie, but I'll get into it in the next movie, for sure. So, basically, main thoughts on this movie. I love the animation. I love the fact that it is an alternative version of a lot of these characters. Heck yeah, we barely got a Superman until like the last half, I think. Yeah. And I thought everything was pretty interesting. Like, the world building was very interesting, so I would definitely give this a watch again, if anything at all. So, our next movie on... Sorry, minor glitch in the recording right there. So basically, our next movie on our list goes to a movie I like to call Justice League War. And yep, we're talking about that, the Justice League movie. So, right off the bat, the animation, as always, I think it's pretty good. And of course, the action itself is also very spectacular itself. And as far as certain cards to go, the big gripe that I can't have with it is that it seems like if this wasn't taking place after the Flashpoint Paradox, then you would think that all members of the Justice League would know each other. Not at all. And I will admit that is kind of my big gripe with it. But other than that, not bad. And again, I would like to think it's others that great. So this movie takes place after the Flashpoint Paradox. Have you missed any errors? Well, sir, I don't think we have. Well, then let's shut the movie. Sir, I forgot to mention that we forgot that certain characters don't know each other. You fool! Something like that. But at the end of the day, characters, we got our usual Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Cyborg, and Shazam. And that's all the heroes that are present on this. And I think it definitely works very well. And I think it also introduces the heroes very spectacular. I mean, obviously, people know Batman, Superman. I like that the introductions that we got for Cyborg and Shazam are very interesting. You basically got to see all the origins, but not enough, but not so much as it consumes the entirety. Granted, Cyborg is kings, as far as so basically, the plot is that these strange alien-like creatures have been placing devices all around the metropolis and of course, some suspect that it's a Batman, which, spoiler alert, is basically because at this point, I'm sure you probably watched this obviously, it is not Batman, so what could it be? Well, if you're a DC Comics fan, you eventually learn that these things are paradoxes, and they come from the world of Apocalypse, which is led by the one and only Darkseid himself, which is basically what the movie eventually builds up to. But Batman and Green Lantern are trying to figure out these devices that are left by these characters. Meanwhile, we got Wonder Woman, who's trying to meet the president and eventually hangs out with this little girl to get some ice cream? Question mark. Then we have Cyborg's character, which is kind of interesting. We get Cyborg before he becomes Cyborg whatsoever. This dude is a football jock, and hey, life seems to be going well. Except that his father's a scientist of the Star Labs, and because his father wants to go to these football games, because, hey, science are discovered or not. Obviously, the tension between him and his dad are pretty high. It is only until after the devices get to activate and more of these learnings come forth that we get to see Victor Stone, aka become Cyborg, become Cyborg. And I had to imagine the transformation that was sympathize with the victim or whatsoever. I mean, he's now got this apocalypse technology on him, and he's gonna have to live with it for the rest of his life. So, well, yeah, that's one big plot point. Eventually, Flash and Superman they get in on this whole the problem itself, and yeah, it just so happens to gather up everyone's details around. Eventually, Billy, which we do not have much context of how he got his powers, but I imagine things have fantasy. Have an idea. And much but those who have not heard of Shazam, this is all this movie got released. So we definitely need to do some Shazam. But not a bad very well much argument against it. And definitely consider Shazam being an interesting character. I mean, for goodness sakes, it goes from being a pipsqueak to a lightning bolt of a man. With these like powers that are supposed to be Zeus-like, so. And of course, the inevitable what does happen, and all 7 of our heroes are gathered around to face Darkseid. And I kind of like the peril that happens, because they have never, and I imagine all 7 of these heroes have never seen anything like this. It's their first time dealing with Darkseid, and they're trying to figure out how to beat this guy. And I do like that it ends like that I basically have a cyborg create a boom tube to send Darkseid back, which is definitely one of the best things that they have done in this movie. Like, and as far as everything else goes, like the smaller details, so I will admit that one of these smaller details that I kind of saw coming was the fact that, and this is before I saw the rest of the New 52 movies themselves. So apparently, when the president is on his plane, is trying to get away from these parademons, the president is under attack. Wonder Woman goes in to be a response. The plane is descending down. Superman just so happens to show up, and one of the few things that felt like it was inevitable that it would happen was the fact that Superman and Wonder Woman were going to be a thing. And I am not gonna say anything about it until we get to one of the other DC movies that actually kind of pushes it a little further, which is probably not gonna be on this video, but on the next one. But let's just say for now, I am not a fan of this pairing, and it's just ridiculous. That my word right beside that I thought it was amazing. The fact that we got to see one of the big bads of DC come to life before our very eyes is just wow. I mean, we saw what is essentially the beginning of probably one of the big things that is bound to come back eventually. And I do like the fact that they do decide to try and stay in touch with each other, even though some of them are very hesitant about it. hey, it all worked out in the end. So yeah, I like this movie. It's definitely a great way to what emphasize that this is the, in my opinion, the true biggest way to start the New 52 series. So basically, just like how these characters are introduce the probably the biggest bad guy in DC. That we are more likely gonna see get back again in the near future. Because hey, he just is. And with that, yeah, go definitely see this for sure. Like, it is actually a movie that you have to see at least before continuing down on watching the rest of the 52 movies. So, yeah. And the last movie I am going to cover for this video will be this movie. Yeah, which comes after Justice League War itself. So, we have reached another Red DC movie, and now what kind of starts the beginning of what I like to call the beginning of what's to really come. Sure, Justice League War introduced us to the Justice League itself, but this one introduces elements that are bound to come out more often than not. And of course, it's one of those movies that most people will want to dislike upon seeing it after the first time. Mainly because of reasons. Reasons such as the fact that, oh, they don't like Damian Wayne because he's such a brat. Well, let me just say this right now. What Damian's character is a character that does grow as time progresses, and I will be more than happy to share it as this goes on. But for now, it's just the son of Batman we're talking about. And right off the bat, we see, the League of Assassins just doing their usual training. But that all changes when Slade, aka Deathstroke, comes in and takes over the League of Assassins. And I gotta admit, that is actually a concept of an idea that I actually liked. Can you imagine if Deathstroke led the League of Assassins and basically led what Ra's al Ghul originally intended? That is something that I actually liked about this movie. He's more ruthless, but come on, it's Deathstroke. You can't go completely wrong with Deathstroke. And of course, there's actually a reason for Damian to be with Batman, because Deathstroke is after where Talia and Damian's heads, and of course, Damian's with Batman instead of just being the big burden on Batman's shoulder, unlike what happened in the comics originally. As it would entail, as the movie does get further and further, you start to see other elements that kind of reside with the how Batman does things and how Damian interprets them. And I think it's definitely a perfect example of Damian wanting to go things his way, but because he is under his dad's watch, of course, it's going to be entirely different. The only thing that I've said earlier, where is that most people do not like Damian's character in this movie. Again, now speaking from someone who's actually a fan of the Batman family, I will admit that he's not my number one favorite that goes to Dick Grayson. Thank you very much, aka Nightwing. Which, by the way, yes, he does show up in this movie. Yeah, and he definitely brought a lot of light into this movie. Yeah. Yeah, but Damian is my second favorite Robin, though. What? And there are reasons for that. And I'm actually very well fine that we don't have Jason Todd or Tim Drake as the movies progress. Sorry, that is a spoiler, by the way. Then again, I have said spoiler like way earlier in the video, so I don't think I need to say that any more times than I need to. So, as the plot does further go on, apparently, Deathstroke wants this experimental Man-Bat thing, or at least to turn people into Man-Bats, and I will admit, that is very weird in a sense. Like, that actually felt a bit odd to see, because we know of one Man-Bat, but really? But then, after watching it like at least more times than one, I realized that Kirk Langstrom, oh yeah, this is him, but this time he's not the Man-Bat. Instead, he's the scientist that just produces it. Okay. Well, what do I know? And of course, there's obviously some scenes that some people did have a problem with, but I didn't mind it too much because, like I said, I'm a fan of all the action, but I can understand where the complaints are coming from. But the one fight that I will admit was a bit skeptic at first was Deathstroke versus Damian. Like, that fight purely should have just been Batman versus Deathstroke, but at the end of the day, if you are someone who knows a thing or two about comic book logic, Damian didn't outright kill Deathstroke. I mean, yeah, sure, he managed to outsmart him and stuff, which I will admit, I can hear what people clamoring all this problem. But me, I really don't have a problem with it, only because, well, it's not just because I'm a biased fan of Damian, but also because this kid has been under the training of the League of Shadows ever since he was like, what, a toddler? And yeah, you have to imagine how much nurturing of what it means to be an absolute unit Damian has gone through. Even then, yeah, that's probably not the best excuse to give, but I don't know, it's probably as good as any. Yep. So, yeah, with that being said, at least by the end of this movie, when Damian was left with the choice of either going back with his mom to the League of Assassins, or staying with his dad in Gotham, he chose to stay with Batman, which, in my opinion, is legitimately the first step of his character growth. And I actually had to admit at least, like, let's put a side note here. I actually kind of like how snarky Alfred can get. Like, the most, like, Alfred is basically the most sarcastic character in this series, and I love it. And I imagine a lot of others do too. So yeah, animation was great. The actions were definitely amazing. Although granted, the Man-Bats are kind of pushing it, but I can sort of look past it. Only because, hey, it was made by the same guy who was originally supposed to be Man-Bat. So, yeah, more power to it. And unfortunately, this is where I am actually going to be leaving things for right now. Well, only because there are so many other DC movies to sit through. well, technically I have sat through all of them, but I do not want this video to go on any longer than it already has. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the movies I've at least talked about, and let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. If you liked this video, obviously give it a like, share the content with your friends, as it does help with the channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that notification bell to, well, stay up to date, of course. And I hope you guys will stick around for the journey, and until next time, this is Axel Stanley, signing off. See ya.